Hello and welcome guys into another video on Chris's vlog. And I just want to talk about the DNA results again. So that's probably one of my more popular videos. And there was a little bit of criticism about me saying that I've got almost no British in me. So what I've done is I've sent my DNA to Gedmatch and to another lab to get a full chromosome test results. Also to get my intolerance results, which I'll probably put in another video, although it's probably not as interesting. So I've had a look again, and thankfully it has reconfirmed everything I said. Now let me be clear on this, because some people get a little bit fidgety, shall we say, about Britishness. So obviously I'm Scottish, which makes me British. I prefer to refer to myself as Scottish, although not for particularly political reasons. As somebody who now lives in England, I definitely feel culturally closer to Scotland, and there is noticeable differences. End of. Don't want to get into political debate. But for the purposes of genetic testing, Scottish and British are usually separated. So British is usually referred to as English, and that's sort of post-Norman English. So 1066 basically, Norman, a little bit of Viking heritage, and obviously a mixture of the whole Anglo-Saxon Jutes and all that mixture. And that is what it is. Sorry if that doesn't fit with people's national beliefs and so forth, but nonetheless genetically, the Scots and Irish, for example, are quite a genetically different stock to Southern English, to put it bluntly. Although there is massive mixture, of course, like everybody in the world. So I've looked further into this, and I'll see if I can pull out any details. These are quite heavy statistical data rather than the pictures you get from Ancestry. So the big picture stuff, and I'll have to explain these further, is the admix results. So my major percentage is 46.43 Northeast European, followed by 33.75% Atlantic Mediterranean Neolithic, which is a big one, 8.82 West Asian, which is interesting, 4%, so number 4 is 4.36% Northeast Mesolithic, 5 is Indo-Iranian, 2.54, and 6 is the Near East. So we got about 4% there, Middle Eastern to the edges of India. And let me go into the actual detail here. So using 4 population approximation, the number 1 genetic code, I don't know, chromosome, I don't even know what I'm saying, Scottish derived or Celtic derived, predominantly northeast Scotland again, which matches up with Ancestry, which is great. Second, now this is when it starts getting more interesting. There's a specific Orcadian, and that's, in fact, let me just double check I'm right on this. I believe that is the Orkney Isles Orcadian. Yeah, the Orcadian is a newspaper, not now, so that's what they must refer to as chromosome. Now they're very, very Scandinavian with a mixture of the Celtic, but that is coming up as my number 2, which is quite interesting, because if you remember from the first test results, I was only 2% Scandinavian. But I think there's more to it than that. I think obviously having their own name must mean they have a specific genetic marker that they're interested in. And then it gets even more interesting. Hungarian. Now obviously I did get some Central European, but Hungarian is very interesting. Macedonian. Montenegrin. Bosnian. You can see a recurrent theme here. Very Slavic. And it goes on and on and on. There's obviously some Esters. There's some South German. So the opposite to what you would expect in Anglo-Saxons, and Austrian. So I seem to be from the northwest of Europe. I used to have a map up there, it would have been handy. And down here in the Balkan states, and around those states as well. There's also some interesting mixtures. I have some specific Persian DNA. I have a feeling that's not too uncommon, but very interesting as well. Again though, no Anglo-Saxon, no Norman. There is some French in there, right at number 20. And it's southern French. This is the Mediterranean thing. I'm not quite sure about the Mediterranean bowl, because I think it's hard to tell genetically there. But a lot of Germans south and the southeast of Germany. I have a tiny splotch of Welsh, which I presume is Bifryonic, which I suppose is the original Britons. Very, very intriguing. There's not really much for me to upload here. I'll upload the link to the website. These are like hard-coded Oracle database tables. Incredible information. Also, I better not put the people's information up, but what this does is you upload your chromosome kit details, you get a zip file, and they do a one-to-many match. So, and I've put it to near exact, so basically they have to be extremely confident that you're related to the person, And I have, I'm just maximising the screen now, there's over 198, yeah, 198 people, not over, 198 people who have uploaded their DNA that are related to me. Now, some of these people will be, like, 19th cousin, no, probably not, like 5th cousins or whatever. But you can actually contact them, and I might. There's a few people at the top. There's 6 people who they're saying, it doesn't really give too specific, but it says close relatives, who I'm very, very close with, and all of them, well, there's some obvious names. Again, I won't say their names just in case it's a privacy issue. Obviously Scottish, there's some very clearly Scottish names in there. But there's some really, really... And obviously, maternal lines and things, it depends if people do their family names, but there's some really, really non-Celtic names in there, so I'm really intrigued. Personally, I love being mixed. I know some people get really angsty when, oh, but I'm English or British or French, or... I think it's amazing. I love the fact that I've got Iranian, Persian in me. I think it's amazing. But yeah, there's some really, really, there's some Germanic names, which makes more and more sense now, but there's definitely some Russian. I would hesitate to define this, but I think potentially Pakistani name in there. Really intrigued, so I'm definitely going to email a couple of them and see what the crack is on that one. Probably won't start with what's the crack, otherwise it might get banned. Anyway, folks, I thought I'd give you a wee update on that. Gedmatch.com. I'll obviously put a link in the video, and I'll see you for the next video.